Hi everyone, I'm Will Mann. I'm one of our hippo keepers here at Flamingo Land, and on this episode of Zoo TV, I'd like to introduce you to our very special new arrival. So chances are, if you're new, just let her just sniff around. She shouldn't pull on anything. She might pull on the sound, the boom cable a little bit, but she'll stop. She's going for a wee.
So we've got a new baby hippo. She's called Aurora. Aurora borealis. I can't say that. I can say Aurora. So it was the night she was born on one of the nights when the Northern Lights was really obvious over here. So it just seemed an obvious name. She's delightful. It's been a roller coaster of emotion from the first day to this. And she's just really important, only to us, but to the breeding group as well.
Water on you. What's this? So, like any kid, trying to get them to have a bath sometimes good, sometimes a little bit more interested in what's going on.
The first 2 days, the calf seemed to be well and bright. She was going under the water in sort of the location where the udder is, keeping down there, so we assumed that she was feeding. On the third day, we found her a bit lethargic and in the corner of the enclosure. So we managed to get her again. She was also a little bit lower in her body temperature. So we managed to warm her up, give her some fluids under the skin and some glucose. And then we also gave her some feeds, but this time with a stomach tube that I inserted orally through the mouth.
If anyone needs any more hands, let me know.
She seems to be opening her mouth a lot wider than earlier.
The baby was lethargic out on the platform next to the indoor pool. It was not really responding to anything from the keepers, so it became quite clear to the keepers that we needed to intervene more so now. So to be able to get to the baby safely, we had to separate her from the mum. So they only had the one choice to unfortunately drain the pool for water so that she would leave and go outside. She then fell into the empty pool. We got someone from a vet from Rainbow Equine Hospital in Morton in to help us x-ray the baby right there. She was also very severely hypothermic, so body temperature too low to read on a thermometer. We also checked just the red and white blood cells, and that showed that she was also septic, so she had an infection going on. So she was very hypoglycemic, so it means the blood sugar is too low, which is to be expected if she's not been fed properly. On the x-rays, we did find a suspicious sort of lesion around some of her neck vertebrae. So to just make sure that it wasn't a fracture of her neck, we took her to the local equine hospital in Morton because they've got a CT scanner for their horses, so obviously that's very practical for us. So we transferred Aurora there, got her through the CT scanner and confirmed that there wasn't a neck fracture or any other spinal damage, any other damage to her body, which obviously made us feel really relieved. But at that point, her state was so critical that we were expecting her to die. So under ultrasound guidance, we managed to get fluids right into her belly, so with a big needle, and then eventually, finally, with the help of ultrasound as well, managed to find the vein on the neck and managed to get a cannula in there as well to fill as much as we can with fluids and containing glucose. From that state of being unresponsive, lethargic, she then, after hours and hours of this, finally perked up and seemed to improve. Obviously, she wasn't out of the woods at that point at all. So we then still had the problem of how to feed her. It was, of course, clear to us that the mom wasn't feeding her, so she couldn't go back to her. So the only way to do that was to put a feeding tube through her nostrils, as they do in horses as well, and that leads through her esophagus into the stomach. We started with really small amounts. So we did that the whole night through, every 2 hours, and she continued to perk up and improve, and it was actually quite a miracle to then witness that from over the course of not even a full day, she went from being really on the brink of death to then walking around the room and suckling on walls and exploring the place. So it was really remarkable for all of us, obviously, to witness. The next day, it became clear that she had stabilized sufficiently for her to be able to come back home to Flamingo Land.
I wonder if we need a longer tape, because looking at her nipples are huge. Not the big thick ones that we've got, we'd have to find something.
So we transferred her back here, but then had her under 24-hour care, just like we had done that first night at Rainbow. There was one person sitting with her every second of the day, and that went on for over a week. So it has been quite a job for the keepers, especially here. So we had one person with her at all times, and then a second person coming in to help with the feeding every 2 hours. And then eventually we were able to increase that interval to every 3 hours, and now we're only doing daytime feeds, but still a really long period of time throughout the day into the night.
She is a real miracle baby.
She is a miracle baby. She's, Godzilla, she's great. She tried, and eventually wants to try and get them all sort of back together. So it's not that we're hand-rearing because it's a cute cuddly thing. This hippo is a vitally important hippo to the breeding program.
She's a noisy and messy eater.
Yes, yes you are. But you probably would be if you were a little hippo. So slurping to the nth degree.
Godzilla's the only female in her lineage that hasn't bred, so we're trying to get the genes. The European Studbook has asked us to get the genes out of her and into the breeding program. We've done that, but now we need to uphold that and keep her going. So that's why we're sort of assistance feeding her, with the view to get her back with Godzilla and eventually back with Hoover. Unfortunately, because Godzilla isn't with the calf, she will come into season again sooner than she would have done if she's got the calf. What we don't want them is breeding at the moment, because then we'd have a baby in February, which we don't want. And also, it's up to the stud bookkeeper whether we get the recommendation to breed again. So contraception is the name of the game. So it's going to take a while for Godzilla to be able to be contracepted, so that's probably about 4 weeks. At least we'll give you the right dates, but I think then we've got another 4 weeks for the contraception to take effect, and then they can all go back out together. So today, for example, we've got Hoover the male, he's inside, Godzilla's outside, and we'll swap them over later. So it's not that they're all inside all the time. We make sure that everyone gets out and about and has a bit of time. I think Dad would like to make more babies quite soon, really, sooner rather than later, but I've had a little word. That didn't work, so yeah, he's doing all right. I think he's just a little bit confused, but the routine's completely changed. But he's an absolute sweetie, he's Hoover, he's just delightful, so he's fine. Even with an animal's, when it's with its mum, there's like, oh, it's been born, is it feeding? Oh, has it been to the toilet? Oh, is it managing to suckle properly? Oh, no, it's got to go out with everyone else. There's always going to be something. And it's exactly the same with Aurora. It's just that we're slightly more involved with her, I think, emotionally, and even though we don't do emotions, but you do get involved. So it'll be good to see her back with Mum. It'll be good to see her out on the lake with the rest of the family. Yeah, it's just going to take a little bit longer, I think, with her.
And she is the cutest, of course. So we are all really, really happy, and yeah, we all. I can't thank the team enough for how everyone's like helped each other, and yeah, to help Aurora.